Coming up, Indiana men's basketball tries to keep their tournament hopes alive.
And IU baseball dominates in their home opener. This is Hoosier Sports Nite.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Nite. I'm Ta Lau.
And I'm Giselle Marsteller.
Giselle, what do you do this weekend?
Well, I definitely didn't hang out with Utah.
Indiana hosted the Rutgers Scarlet Knights in Assembly Hall last night in what has been dubbed as an NCAA tournament play-in game. Our Evan Kamiko and Jevin McCoskey have more.
Indiana let another second-half lead blunder as they fall to Rutgers on Senior Day.
I think our miscues up top. We came in, I thought early on when they ran the 4-1 or 4-2 pick and roll, Race did a good job in stabbing and we were able to keep the matchup. That's what I was basically trying to do.
TJD started the game hot with 15 points in the first half, but Rutgers quickly adjusted.
It was the zone. I think that we should have probably got the ball inside and then kicked it to the other corners like we do. We usually don't struggle with the zone very much, but for some reason tonight we were just holding it at the top of key too long, and I think the ball moved quick enough.
Again, he was beating the double teams early, and then they just basically sagged and forced us to make shots.
With the loss, Indiana most likely drops out of the field of 68. But, Jevin, with one more game left, there's still work to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a great opportunity on the road to travel to West Lafayette to face the number 8 Purdue Boilermakers in Mackey Arena. You've beaten this team once before this year. Granted, it wasn't Assembly Hall, but going on the road and picking up that win might be just what Indiana needs to solidify that spot in the NCAA tournament.
We have the NCAA tournament, but that's not until after Purdue. So Purdue's the next game on our schedule, so that's what I'm going to worry about right now. And then after Purdue, I'll worry about the Big Ten tournament. And then after all of that's said and done, then we can talk about what's going on with the NCAA tournament.
This is my first go-around. I have no idea how the selection and all of that, we're going to have to win some games probably in the tournament as well. But it's not over. We got to keep fighting.
Indiana falls to 18-11 with a road game coming up on Saturday at Purdue. For Jevin McCoskey and IUS TV Sports, I'm Evan Kamiko.
The Hoosiers close out their schedule with one game remaining on the road Saturday at Purdue on ESPN. Follow along with Jevin and Evan for game day coverage.
IU women's basketball starts their Big Ten tournament run today with their first game against Rutgers. But the Hoosiers are entering this tournament on a major losing streak. IU ended their regular season with 3 straight losses. Their last loss was on the road at Maryland back on February 25th. While 5 Hoosiers reached the double-digit points and Graceberger led the way with a double-double of 16 points and 10 rebounds, the team did not have an answer for the Terrapins' 3-point shooting. Maryland hit 6 threes in the first half and added 1 more in the third quarter, shooting 47% from the arc. Maryland's Angel Reese also posted an issue for the Hoosiers inside, as she put up 20 points for the Terrapins in a narrow 67-64 win. IU will meet Maryland again in the Big Ten tournament tomorrow afternoon if they win against Rutgers today.
For the 28th time in program history, the Indiana men's swim and dive team won the Big Ten championship. Indiana came back to Bloomington with 9 gold medals and multiple silver and bronze. A lot of Hoosiers had podium finishes, but one swimmer and one diver stood out more than others. Junior swimmer Brennan Burns secured the gold medal in every event he swam last week, both relays and individual events. Burns won the 100 backstroke, 200 backstroke, 200 butterfly, and contributed to both the gold medal 800 freestyle and 400 medley relays. In the diving wall, Andrew Capobianco was the one who dominated for the Hoosiers. Capobianco swept all diving events, getting the gold in the 1 meter, 3 meter, and platform dive, which was the first time someone has won all 3 since 2011. To finish off the season, the Hoosiers will compete at the NCAA Championships in Atlanta from March 23rd to the 26th.
Indiana softball continued its season this past weekend at the Unconquered Invitational in Tallahassee, Florida, leaving with a record of 3-2. On Friday, Team 49 started the day off with the win against Hofstra 8-4 after a strong pitching contest. Freshman pitchers Brianna Copeland and Heather Johnson combined for 15 total strikeouts. However, the Hoosiers could not continue the momentum into their nightcap matchup against number 3 Florida State, losing 9-0 in 5 innings. Indiana bounced back the next day, starting with their doubleheader win with a 4-0 win over Hofstra. Sophomore Macy Montgomery threw a complete game and Cora Bassett hit an inside-the-park home run. Indiana pushed the excitement from their second win against Hofstra into the second game against Florida State, leading the Seminoles going into the bottom of the 6th. Despite the 1-0 lead, the Hoosiers were not able to stop the bats of Florida State in the 6th inning and lost the game 3-1. Indiana did not let the drama of FSU game affect Sunday's game against Hofstra, shutting the Pride out again 6-0. Here's what head coach Shonda Stanton had to say after last weekend's performance.
We got better this weekend, and I think that's the key, is you want to continue to make progress. And, look, on the weekend, beating Hofstra 3 times was a must, and we took care of business, and that's not always an easy thing to do when you're running different pitchers out there and you're playing the same team 3 times in a weekend. You're seeing a lot of each other, and particularly coming out on a Sunday.
Indiana will host Valparaiso in Western Illinois this Friday and Saturday for their home opening weekend at Andy Moore Field.
Last weekend, the 2022 Big Ten Indoor Track and Field Championships were held as IU traveled to Geneva, Ohio. Ricoi Brathwaite, a recurring name this season, defended his 60-meter title as he once again took the gold medal. Freshman Camden Marshall managed to capture the win in the 800-meter, securing his victory in the final 100-meter stretch of the event. Having a strong closing lap, Ben Veitch captured silver in the mile and then again in the 5,000-meter race. Maria Anderson crushed her previous personal record in the 600-meter final, taking home the bronze medal. The men's 4x4 relay team cruised to a third-place finish, wrapping up IU's time in Geneva. Overall, the Hoosier men finished 4th as a team with 80 points, while the women finished 9th with 33 points. Next, Indiana awaits entries into the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships, set for March 10th and 11th in Birmingham, Alabama.
Coming up after the break, we have more on baseball, water polo, tennis, and more.
You're watching Hoosier Sports Nite. Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Nite.
The Indiana baseball team had a busy week traveling to Texas for a weekend set and opening the home schedule Tuesday night. Our own Mason Williams has more.
Indiana baseball traveled to Round Rock, Texas over the weekend to compete in the Car-Bosch Round Rock Classic. Coming off a weekend where they found themselves on the wrong side of a 3-game sweep at Clemson, the Hoosiers would face 3 quality teams in hopes of earning their first W of the year and not coming home empty-handed. Game 1 saw the Hoosiers take on the second-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks on Friday night. The unusually cold Texas weather served as a possible representation of the early season offensive struggles, which unfortunately carried over into the result, combining with some stellar Razorback pitching that helped facilitate a hard-fought 5-2 loss. The offense would come to life on Saturday, though, bursting through for 12 runs in a victorious effort over the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. IU starter Jack Perkins delivered 5 strong innings, earning the Louisville transfer his first win in the Cream and Crimson, and Hoosier bats dominated Louisiana pitching in the rout. Finally, IU would take on number 6 Stanford in the Sunday finale of the set. Although clearer skies prevailed for a beautiful day of baseball, the Cardinal proved why they are one of the best teams in the country, handing IU a 13-0 loss in 7 innings. Head coach Jeff Mercer said that this is the type of competition he wants his squad to become accustomed to, and that these experiences will benefit the team over the grueling run of a college baseball season.
As a program, we're going to go challenge ourselves. That's a commitment that we've made to our players. If you want to come to Indiana, we're going to go compete against the absolute best. For us, the ultimate goal is to be a national contender, and you won't do that by not playing against teams in that same league. This group is a tight-knit group. It's a group that's building friendships and building relationships, and those will pay huge dividends for us into the future. I'm certainly confident of that.
Indiana got back on track Tuesday night in a big way, exploding for 15 runs in a victory over the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. 9 of those 15 runs came via the long ball. Brock Tibbetts had 2 of the 4 homers himself, and IU as a whole scored in all but 2 of the 8 innings they came to the plate. The power generated by the offense was backed up by a solid bullpen day from the pitching staff, which saw 5 arms allow for only a combined 4 hits in the first career start for freshman Luke Hayden, marking IU's most complete performance of the season so far. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Mason Williams.
The Hoosiers will travel to Springfield, Missouri to take on the Missouri State Bears this weekend. Follow along with IUSTV Sports for all the updates.
The number 17 ranked Indiana water polo team headed out to Irvine, California to compete at the Culbus Invitational. In their first game against number 6 Michigan, the score was tied at halftime 3-3, but the Hoosiers were not able to finish down the stretch and lost a close one 8-6. Saturday's slate featured a doubleheader, starting off with IU facing number 18 Loyola Marymount in a game that went into overtime. Starting captain Lana DeBow scored the game-winning goal, leading Indiana to a 16-15 victory and ending its 4-game losing streak. The second contest of the day featured a thrilling matchup against number 11 UC San Diego. With the help of Izzy Mandema's 3 goals, the Hoosiers pulled off a 10-9 upset over the Tritons. Indiana would play its last game of the tournament versus number 9 Arizona State on Sunday. It was a close one at halftime, with ASU having the edge 9-8. However, a second-half offensive slump for the Hoosiers caused the Sun Devils to pull away with the 16-9 victory. Indiana closed out the weekend with 2 wins and 2 losses and now sit at 7-8 on the season. Next, the team heads to Cambridge, Massachusetts for the Harvard Invitational. Follow Lauren Boer and Griffin Healy for all the latest updates.
The Indiana men's tennis team had their first road match of the season against the University of Louisville. Head coach Jeremy Wertzman knew playing at U of L was going to be tough, and he made it clear last week that this match was definitely going to be a learning experience. It ended up being a tough afternoon for the Hoosiers, as they won only a total of 2 sets the entire day and fell 4-0 to the Cardinals. Indiana's number 2 doubles pair of Patrick Fletchall and Jagger Saylor won their doubles match, but U of L won both the number 1 and number 3 doubles, clinching the doubles point. In singles, the Hoosiers were unable to bounce back and get any momentum going. Number 2 singles player Patrick Fletchall did clinch his first set and have the lead in the second, but his match went unfinished due to the other results. All other IU singles players lost or had their matches go unfinished. The Hoosiers will look to get back on track tomorrow as they take on Illinois State at home. They only have 4 more non-conference matches before Big Ten play commences. Be sure to follow along with Blake Spillers for the updates this weekend.
The Indiana women's tennis team faced off against Cornell and Xavier this past weekend. Our IUSTV's tennis beat reporter Lionel Smeliansky has the recap.
It was an up-and-down weekend of tennis for the Indiana Hoosiers as they faced Cornell on Saturday and beat them by a score of 4-2, and faced Xavier today, Sunday, and lost 4-0. On Saturday, Laura Masich was forced to retire from her match in the first set due to an uneasy stomach. However, her doubles partner Laura Schneider in singles competition continued her dominance at home as she won 6-4, 6-4, continuing her streak of 1 sets and 1 matches at home. Alexandra Stykulescu continued her home dominance as well, winning by a score of 6-2, 5-7, 6-2, extending her streak, and Rose Hu has been dominant as of late, winning another match.
You know, we've been doing a lot of, talking with Rose, and absolutely, she's been improving every day. I think she's more focused. I think the mental part of the game is coming along really good. And she knows and she understands the things that she needs to do. And sometimes those are the big steps that we need as a player. So I think she's really improving, really doing a great job and working hard every day.
However, Sunday was a little bit of a different story against Xavier. Lauren Masich returned to action after retiring the previous day and lost by a score of 7-5 and 6-1. Laura Schneider unfortunately faced her first loss at home, and it was in straight sets. And Alexandra Stykulescu would get her match abandoned in the 3rd set after it was deemed unimportant due to the result. Rose Hu was once again playing very well. She won her first set 6-3, but her match was abandoned as well due to the losses of Mila Mach, Lauren Masich, and Seda Hernandez in singles competitions. Indiana would lose a doubles point today, and that would prove crucial, as said by Coach Asqui as well. Indiana will get a week's rest, and they will take on a doubleheader next weekend. For iOS TV Sports, I'm Lionel Smolyansky.
The team will take on Cincinnati and Eastern Illinois at home on Saturday.
The Indiana men's hockey team continued to make history this past weekend with a regional victory and a ticket to the ACHA National Tournament. The Hoosiers snuck past UNC Chapel Hill in their first round 3-2 and then handedly beat both Penn and UPenn 4-0 and 5-0 respectively. Heavy hitters for the weekend included Cade Kenyon, Aiden Simoneau, Matthew McKay, and goaltender Sammy Billis, who earned his first 2 collegiate regional shutouts. This is now IU's winningest season in program history, and it will be their first time at the national tournament in 14 years. The Hoosiers have earned themselves this title while having added 15 freshmen to their roster and dealing with coaching staff changes early on in the season. Indiana will compete in the D2 ACHA National Tournament in St. Louis, Missouri on March 14th through the 18th.
And that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports. For our production crew behind us, I'm Giselle Marsteller.
And I'm Tal Lau. We'll see you next week.